welcome, and let's take a look at what's going on this week. As always, join Rev Rich on Mondays with his Meditation Mondays as we join in consciousness through various meditations and lessons to help bring a great start to our week. On Tuesday, join us as we spill the tea with Alicia Pacheco and Rev Rich as we find a spiritual solution for those problems for today. On Wednesday, we continue our book series with the book by Jordan Tarver, You Deserve This Shit. And we encourage you to get the book, follow along, use the principles, and especially if you're dealing with any self-worth issues, this book is a great and easy read to get to where you want to be. This week we have a special service on Good Friday. We'll be doing the Tenebrae service where we talk about Jesus' 7 last teachings from the cross as well as our candle service for that period. Join us 7 p.m. Eastern on Friday for the service. And next Sunday is the last of our 4-part series on a positive path to spiritual living. What is it? How do we use it? I hope you've gotten a lot from the series, and we're bringing it home next week. And again, we thank you for joining us today. And if you'd like to continue to bring the online experience, you can always donate to us at the About tab on our YouTube channel or at witheveryencounter.com/spiritual community. And we definitely appreciate all the help, and we continue to build the video studio here as we continue to bring you this messages. And as always, we encourage you to continue to give to your spiritual centers and your spiritual nourishment for the work they do as well, because together we can go ahead and change the world. And with that, back to Rev Rich.
As always, welcome to our Sunday celebration service. It is also Palm Sundays. And I'd be remiss if I don't recall the story of when we were going to do Palm Sunday over at Unity of Northeast Pennsylvania. And I ordered a box of palms. And it's funny because they always say, if you want to make God laugh, make plans. So here it is. I have this box of palms ready to do a Palm Sunday, and we were shut down due to COVID. So it tells you how much celebrating together is so important, and that's why I'm so glad I am doing this for you guys and for myself, because I really do miss the talks and my daughter singing and everything, and that enjoyment and that excitement. So I'm glad that I have the opportunity to do this with you. So today, as always, thank you for being here. Whether it's live or whether it's later on watching it, I really do appreciate it. Again, use the chat feature. Let us know that you're here. Say hi. Make comments. You know, if you have any prayer requests, feel free to, you can put them in the chat. If you want something more private, you can always go to my website and use the contact form there with witheveryencounter.com. But as always, we're here for you. So I thought that today, being that we're working our way through the positive path to spiritual living and understanding it more, that for our opening prayer, and being that it's Palm Sunday, is to use the daily word from today as our opening prayer, because I think it speaks volumes not only to the fact that it's Palm Sunday and the metaphysical meaning of it, but also how it symbolizes our work we're doing over the last 2 weeks, and today being our 3rd week in the 4-week series. So with that, let's move on to our daily word. Take a deep breath in with me. Just center into this moment, knowing that we're here with open heads and open hearts to take in what is ours to take in. And we acknowledge that it's Palm Sunday, and our affirmation from our daily word is, I celebrate and welcome the Christ. Palm Sunday begins Holy Week and commemorates Jesus' triumphant entry into Jerusalem. Although he arrived humbly seated upon a donkey colt, the excitement of the gathered crowd amplified the celebration as they waved palms and shouted. Spiritually, the crowd represents humanity's joyously responding to the presence of the Christ among them. Jerusalem symbolizes a place of perfect peace. Today I celebrate and claim this peace as my own, as the awareness of the Christ draws in me. With each prayer on my lips, every thought in my mind, I celebrate and welcome the Christ of my being anew. And from John 12:13, so they took branches of palm trees and went out to meet him, shouting, Hosanna, blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord, the King of Israel. So as always, we are here, Palm Sunday. Special announcement about a Good Friday service we will be having on here as well. So with that, we'll move on to more singing and our reading for today.
I am a child of this universe. The ocean dances at my feet. The wind plays a melody through my hair. I am loved at every turn. I am kissed by Mother Earth. I am a child of this universe. The sun warms me in its embrace. The stars have a light for me in the sky. I am honored by all life. I am held by Father Time. Every blade of grass, every shaking leaf on the tree, every mountain top sings of the glory of God moving through me. Child of this universe, I am a child of this universe. Through my breath, all life can be. I plant the seeds with my every dream. I can love at every turn. Give a kiss to Mother Earth. I am a child of this universe. I greet the God in each face. I am a child for peace to flow. Oh, I honored all life. Yes, I'm one with Father Time. To every blade of grass, to every shaking leaf on a tree, to every mountain top, I sing of the glory of God moving through all, moving as me, moving as you. And for today's reading from the book of Release and Renew 2022, A Spiritual Practice of Lent. It is April 10th, 2022, Palm Sunday. Carrying the Christ by Reverend Joy Weiler. Palm Sunday is traditionally a celebration of the life of Jesus and can also be a celebration of the Christ nature of each of us. The story in chapter 21 of the Gospel of Matthew says Jesus told the disciples where to find a donkey and her colt, and he asked them to bring the colt to him. He would ride to Jerusalem, where followers had gathered, not on a fine horse like the Roman soldiers, or even on a trusted and old-trained donkey, but an untried colt. What an odd choice. Jesus gets our attention with unorthodox teachings and strange metaphors. If the cult represents our collective, unbridled, untried, and impulsive humanity, the story seems to communicate that we are still worthy to carry the Christ. We do not carry our Christ nature on our backs, as the cult carried Jesus in the story, but we carry the Christ as part of our essential nature. Humanity has been imbued with the spiritual faculty to work with our reflective intelligence, and it is all part of the perfect design. We may be fearful, much like a little colt, that we are not up to the task of carrying this Christ nature, that we will make mistakes and not always respond to outer conditions in the best way. We may not always see ourselves as worthy to be a part of Palm Sunday celebration of the wisdom and power of Jesus and our own Christ nature. To see the splendor in our worth and the truth of our being, just as we are, is the journey of Lent. Along the way, we patiently notice fears, doubts, and the many ways we constrict the power and beauty that we are. As we observe these thoughts of unworthiness, instead of dwelling on times we stumbled, we remind ourselves of the truth of our being. We keep our thoughts on the power to learn from our experiences. Without being defined by or tied to the past, we release fears and doubts without giving them power any longer. Hosanna is the joyful acknowledgement that error thought is overcome through our Christ nature. We remember that Jesus chose the untried colt so long ago, and we affirm that every one of us is called today to celebrate our worth, our Christ nature, and all that we bring to the world. The next song is Imagine.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. No possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of
welcome back, and I'm so glad you're here for the third installment of our talk on the positive path to spiritual living. So again, for those who are maybe joining us for the first week, an intro of the talk is that unity is described as a positive path for spiritual living, and that is an apt description as these beautiful teachings offer us a clear and direct roadmap for a way of living in peace, fulfillment, and happiness. They don't promise that we will never experience hills and valleys, but they do offer a clear and direct way to approach them. And we're exploring each one of those things this month. So with that, today we explore the profound approach that when we make it very, very personal and very, very special. And as you might anticipate, having seen the various different topics we're doing, we try to give you a little bit extra. So there's a little extra at the end of this video today. And at the end of the service, we'll be closing out a little bit different. So I hope you stay till the end. So one of the things that our master teacher has taught us is that anything mistakes of yesterday can be taken care of. They can be canceled. They can be forgiven. I tell people all the time, the past only lives in our mind. So no matter what happened before today, before the last 2 seconds, can already be erased. And this is not something that when we look at it, we hear habits take 21 days, blah, blah. Yes, the starting of changing something within us. But the past is already the past. We can start to let that go. And that's what's important about today's talk when we talk about building a better tomorrow. One of our sister denominations, Religious Science, Ernest Holmes wrote in Living the Science of Mind, one of the outstanding things that Jesus taught was the mistakes of yesterday can be canceled, that no matter what the experience of yesterday may have been, they can be changed. Jesus did not seem to think that this change required months and years of strenuous effort. He knew that God wishes only good for everyone. He knew that we are all rooted in pure spirit, in perfect life, and that at the moment we can so unify ourselves with the power of good that evil will disappear from our experience. Now we know through Unity teaching, when we go to the Revealing Word by Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, and we look up the word evil, it says not of God, unreality, error thought, a product of the fallen human consciousness. In divine mind there is no recognition of evil conditions. Such conditions have no basis of reality. Apparent evil is a result of ignorance, and when the truth is presented, the error disappears. So basically, when we look at the quote from that last words, it could actually read that Jesus knew that we were all rooted in pure spirit and perfect life, and that any moment we can so unify ourselves with the power of good that anything that seems to be not of God will disappear from our experience. So what you need to take away from that is no matter what your history has been, you can change your tomorrow in an instant. And I mean an instant. So when we look at this, what links yesterday and tomorrow is that we keep repeating history over and over again. Mary Morrissey says that some people live 90 years, but most people live 1 year 90 times. So if you continue to do what you're doing, you're just repeating your history. You constantly hear me talk about failing forward because that's something I had to learn. I would fail, or what I perceived as failure, and then just die out. But then, as I continued to move and realize that failure was not that I had to stop, but failure was the fact that I got to a certain point, and at that point I just had to course correct. If you're interested in space or anything like that, you know that the space shuttle does not fly in a straight line. As it goes through space, it has to course correct. It's not doing any good for us to sit around and cry over the past, because if we do that, we are simply bound to repeat it. So today is the only time, this present moment is the only time that we can begin to make motions forward. As we begin to make changes in our consciousness, and we know that for those that may have joined us today, the consciousness was defined as the totality of our beingness that we bring to the table of our lives. And we said that the totality of our beingness that we bring to the table of our lives is made up of 8 components: thoughts, feelings, beliefs, attitudes, values, words, actions, and reactions. In order to create a beautiful, peaceful, happy, fulfilled, connected tomorrow, regardless of yesterday look like, we must bring a new consciousness today. And we all start with ourselves, but understand that that belief actually works in everything we do. Whether we have to make changes in our relationship, our family life, our organizations, our jobs. But it all has to start here with our own consciousness. But it is that consciousness that creates the opportunity to create bigger, better, and to change our lives. When we change our consciousness, the new consciousness says, I know that all joy there is in the universe is mine now. In that new consciousness, I make every day a day of praise and thanksgiving, a day in which I recognize the divine bounty and eternal goodness are mine now. And in that new consciousness, I live today as though God were the only presence, the only power there is. And I am wondering, as you heard those questions, as we made those statements, and I'm going to use the author's words, and then I'll remind you of a statement I've constantly used. Did you add yes but to any of their rationalities? And do you know what yes but is? Yes but looks like this. When I suggested a new consciousness is one that says, I live this day knowing it's complete and perfect within itself, you said in your mind, yes, but today really isn't complete and perfect because I had a fight with my partner on the way to church, and because I couldn't find my keys and got really mad, or because I didn't have enough money, or I didn't have enough gas, or I didn't have enough food, this happened. Or maybe I didn't have enough energy this morning. When we said that a new consciousness lives through the joy there is in the universe, and that right now is the mind within us, your mind said, yes, but that's not true for me right now. I'm not very joyful. In fact, I'm really sad and disappointed. When I said that we make every day a day of praise and thanksgiving, a day in which you recognize the divine bounty and the eternal goodness, you said, yes, but I have many bills right now to be grateful. I don't really feel that divine bounty and goodness are mine. And when I said you ought to live today as though God were the only presence and the only power there is, you said, yeah, but the problem facing me sure seemed like a big presence and power in my life. Then, my friend, you have a big case of yes buts. See, this reminded me, and I wanted to quote the author completely because my wife used to always tell me how her grandmother used to say anything after but is BS. So I'll let you define what BS means for you. One way is belief system, the other way, well, you know that. And I tell you now, they both work. But the point is, there's a lot of reasons that we have that we need to understand that we need to get our big butt out the way for us to move forward and create this big and beautiful tomorrow. Charles Fillmore, in his book Prosperity, says, our first work in any demonstration is to contact God. Therefore, we must forgive all men for their transgressions. Through this forgiveness, we cleanse our minds so that the Father can forgive us our own transgressions. Our forgiving all men includes ourselves. You must also forgive yourselves. Let the finger of denial erase every sin, or, of course, falling short, that you have charged up against yourself. Pay your debt by saying to the part of yourself which you think has fallen short, thou art made whole, sin no more, lest a worse thing befall thee. Then loose him and let him go. We need to forgive ourselves as the most important thing. We need to create the vacuum to allow us to bring this joy into our life, to bring this happiness into our life. If we hold on to the things of the past, if we continue to beat ourselves up, if we continue to say that we are no good, we continue to not only fill ourselves up, but to stop any flow of prosperity into our lives. So before we experience anything or any practice, we must also know to be a deep, profound practice I want to share a story with you, and I'm sharing it. Ask yourself what the heck it has to do with what we're talking about this morning. I've heard this story so many times, and I knew it had to be a part of today's talk. So, this cheerful little girl with the bouncy golden curls was almost 5 years old. And the story was written a long time ago, so don't ask me where the prices for these things came from. So, the cheerful little girl with the bouncy golden curls were almost 5. Waiting with her mother at the checkout stand, she saw them, a circle glistening white pearls in a pink foil box. "Oh, mommy, mommy, can I have them? Please, mommy, please," the little girl pleaded. Quickly, the mother checked the back of the little foil box and looked back into the pleading blue eyes of the little girl's upturned face. $1.95. That's almost $2. If you really want them, I think some extra chores for you, and in no time you can save enough money to buy them. Your birthday only a week away, and you may get another crisp dollar bill from Grandma. As soon as Jenny got home, she emptied her piggy bank and counted out 17 pennies. After dinner, she did more than her share of chores and earned a few cents. The next day, she went to her neighbor and asked if she could pick dandelions for 10 cents. Sure enough, on her birthday, Grandma gave her another dollar bill. At last, she had enough money to buy the necklace. Jenny loved her pearls. They made her feel dressed up and grown up. Jenny wore them everywhere. Sunday school, kindergarten, even bed. Then one time she took them off was when she went swimming or had a bubble bath. Mom said if they got wet, they may turn her neck green. Jenny has a big loving daddy, and every night when she was ready for bed, he would stop whatever he was doing, come upstairs, read her a story. One night, as he finished the story, he asked Jenny, "Do you know that I love you, and do you trust me?" "Oh yes, Daddy," she said, "I know that you love me, and yes, I trust you." "Then give me your pearls," the daddy said. "Oh, Daddy, not my pearls. You can have Princess, the white horse from my collection. The one with the pink tail. Remember, Daddy, the one you gave me? She was my very favorite. You can have her. You can have anything, but please, not my pearls." "That's okay, honey. Daddy loves you. Good night." And he brushed her cheek with a kiss. About a week later, after story time, Jenny's daddy asked again, "Do you know that I love you?" "Daddy, yes, I know that you love me," Jenny said. "And do you trust me, Daddy?" she asked again. Again, Jenny's answer was yes. "Then give me your pearls," he said. "Oh no, Daddy, not my pearls. You can have my baby doll, the brand new one I got for my birthday. She is beautiful, and you can have the yellow blanket that matches her sleeper." "That's okay, sleep well. God bless you, little one. Daddy loves you." And always he brushed her cheek with a gentle kiss. A few nights later, when Daddy came in, Jenny was sitting on her bed with her legs crossed. As he came close, he noticed her chin was trembling, and one silent tear rolled down her cheek. "What is it, Jenny? What is the matter?" Jenny didn't say anything, but lifted her little hand up to her daddy. And when she opened it, it was her little pearl necklace. With a little quiver, she finally said, "Here, Daddy, this is for you." With tears gathering in his own eyes, Jenny's daddy reached out with one hand to take the dime store necklace, and with the other hand, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a blue velvet case with a real strand of genuine pearls and gave them to Jenny. He had them all the time. He was just waiting for her to give up the dime store stuff so she could give her the genuine treasure. So what does this story have to do with our talk today? It wasn't about sacrifice, but it's actually understanding that our greater experience cannot live in the same space as lesser thinking. The greater good of you, the best part of you, that best part of tomorrow that you want to build cannot live in the same space as your stinking thinking. Trust me, I am an expert at this. I had to learn to let go. I had to learn the parts of consciousness, even in reactions when people came at me. When things started falling apart and I used to react a certain way, I knew I had to mature spiritually. So my reaction matched my consciousness. My consciousness pushed away my stinking thinking. My stinking thinking allowed an opening for this to come through. So we have to understand that those lesser ideas of ourselves, those lesser ideas of our life have to be eradicated so that we're open to the gifts that are already ours. And today, this morning, I want to help us get rid of those lesser thinkings. So, if you don't have one or didn't hear me at the beginning, make sure you have a piece of paper. And if you have a tea light or a small candle, get it out now as we enjoy a song from Alicia, again, reminding us the importance of working with ourselves. And then when we come back, I'm going to lead you into a special closing. I hope you learned something today. I know our talk today was just a little bit shorter than usual, but I wanted to spend time in the ceremony at the end. So again, thank you for having me, and let's get back to the music.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A summer's disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. Oh, oh yeah. Na 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 na. Oh, oh yeah. I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize there is some with no home, not an equal to loan. Could it be really me pretending that they're not alone? A willow deeply scarred, somebody's broken heart, and a washed out dream. They follow the pattern of the wind, you see, 'cause they got no place to be. That's why I'm starting with me. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make that change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Oh yeah. I'm asking him to change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, look at yourself and then make that change. You gotta get it right. When you got the time, if you close your heart, if you close your mind. Starting with the man in the mirror. Oh yeah. I'm asking him to change. Change. No message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make that change. Na 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 na. change. For once in my life, gonna make a change. For once in my life.
I always love that song, Man in the Mirror. I mean, it's such a remembrance and a reminder to myself, as to hopefully all of you, that when we want to change the world, it has to be us. When we talk about let there be peace on earth, let it begin with me. So with that being said, we're going to move into a ceremony to close out the service. If you happen to have a piece of paper with you and maybe a tea light, you can join us virtually at your own home, and we'll explain more about it as we move on. If you don't, that's okay. You can always rewind the video on YouTube and do it later on this week so that you can join us in the final part of it next week in our final talk of this series. So with that, as always, we are so glad you're here. Please remember to practice giving and receiving. That law has changed my life in many ways. So as always, if you've already given to your spiritual center or even donated to us, or if you have it in hand ready to go for whatever, I want you to hold it virtually or in your hand, in your heart, and just repeat with me: divine love through me, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I receive, and all that I circulate. Because remember, the law has to continue to move. So with that being said, we'll now start to move into our ceremony. And as I said, if you happen to have a piece of paper and a tea light, you'll get more instructions as we continue. And we'll be blessed again with another song by Alicia while we contemplate our exit. So for now, I will say, remember to subscribe, like, and share this out to anyone who might be interested in this, as well as excuse me, and as well as always, make sure that you join us sometime this week for any of our videos, as well as next Sunday for the final part of this talk. So with that, I'm going to be quiet for a moment as we get stuff together and move on to our ceremony. Let us move ourselves back into this space, this time, allowing all of the emotions that we felt from the lesson, from the songs, to allow it to just leave and bring our attention to that Christ nature. And with that symbolism, we're going to light the Christ candle once again and allow it to remind us to move into that space of consciousness in our mind and move our thoughts into our heart. And as we begin to open ourselves to our minds, our hearts, we bring up memories, maybe something of any self-judgment where we may have beaten ourselves up or been mean to ourselves. Maybe there's a guilt from a past event. Maybe some regret we need to let go. Or maybe some unforgiveness, whether for someone else or most importantly for ourselves in our mind and our heart. Let's bring that up and let's take that piece of paper. And while we sit here in the silence for a few moments, let us go ahead and write it down on that piece of paper. And again, whatever it is that you feel you need to release to help you move into building a better tomorrow today, what you need to release to allow ourselves to be open to receive that divine intuition. Today we ask you to go ahead and release that and write it down on a piece of paper. And hopefully you have your tea lights by you, because we're going to add light to those release statements. Now, here in my own home, I've asked my family and myself to write down anything we need to release on a piece of paper. And we're going to have Alicia place them face down by the Christ candle. Now, we have 4 papers on our side, whether you're home and you have 1 sheet, or if you and a family member or you and your children have done each one. And we're using tea lights, any kind of candle on top of it. So Alicia will be placing a tea light on each of the papers. And as we begin to light the tea light using the Christ candle, we're going to have the affirmation on the screen. And as we light it, we'll recite together, all the power of the universe conspires to support me in releasing the past and building a beautiful tomorrow today. Again, all the power of the universe conspires to support me in releasing the past and building a beautiful tomorrow today. And I'll repeat it one last time. All of the power of the universe conspires to support me in releasing the past and building a beautiful tomorrow today. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and allow you to use our candlelight as you do your own, as we listen to Alicia sing Let It Be. And we'll end the service here, as you let that contemplation of the words for the song Let It Be, with the original lyrics written by another lady, to make sure that it matches our ceremony today. And again, I am so grateful for you. And once again, allow the song to bathe over you as you're releasing this. And we will finish this ceremony next Sunday, and I hope you can join us. And as always, I love you. Nothing you can do about it.
In times of challenge, try to control what comes to me. I hear these words of wisdom, let it be. And when it seems my life is broken, the answer's right in front of me. Remembered words of wisdom, let it be. 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 Whispered words of wisdom, let it be. When you're feeling lost and searching for meaning in the life you seek, there will be an answer, let it be. And when you let love guide you, there is still a chance that you will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Love will be the answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh let it be. Whispered words of wisdom, let it be. stumble, the voice of love comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be.